Do it again. Liverpool make the final of the Carabao Cup. An early goal from Luis Diaz makes it a very difficult and uphill challenge for Fulham, who really gave a good go of it, expressed themselves well. They got that late goal. They got that late goal in the game to give themselves some hope, to give themselves a quantum of let's say hope and that feeling of maybe, just maybe, we can take this to extra time. But there was too little done, too late in the game, and there was far too much of Liverpool to beat. And now they take on Chelsea. It's the repeat of 2 years ago in the Carabao Cup final. I do believe Liverpool will be the heavy favourites in this game. There's no doubt about that in my mind, as they're just a level above Chelsea right now. However, Chelsea will go into it the underdogs. Chelsea will go into it feeling, well, everybody's going to write us off. Everybody's going to say this is a foregone conclusion. Liverpool are going to have to remain resolute. They're going to have to remain aggressive. They're going to have to expect to get beat, think they may get beat, to really keep their wits about them. That little bit of fear, that little bit of jeopardy has to be within them to really get the best out of them, because this could be another trophy for Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool. And it's been a practically a perfect Carabao Cup campaign for them, really. I know the scoreline read 3-2, and there was a few moments at Anfield where Fulham could have taken a further lead. But overall, Liverpool deserved to be where they were tonight. And you know what? They should really have got themselves 2 and 3-0 up in this match ever before Diop gave Fulham an absolute lifeline. But I want to get your reaction. I want to get your live takes on this. Please hit like buttons. Please make sure you are subscribing to the Football Terrace as well. Let us know what you're thinking. Let us know what you're feeling in the comment section below. And look, I look at Liverpool at the moment and the team. I don't want to use the word transition. Let me rephrase that. I'm not going to use the word rebuild, because the foundation is built. They're going for a transitional period. Transition was the wrong word. Rebuild isn't. Where the midfield is being restructured. They're creating a new attack after one of the best front threes that we have seen in the Premier League era has been split up. And last year was a really horrible campaign for Liverpool when you think the year prior they were a few minutes away from winning a domestic treble. They were very close to pulling off a quad, but they still won 2 trophies, Champions League finalists, and missing out by a hair's breadth on the final day of the season. Liverpool came into this campaign. I remember being laughed at in the summer for saying, I think they'll make the top 4. Nobody put them anywhere near a title race. They've just knocked Arsenal out of the FA Cup. They're into the final of the Carabao Cup. They're the favourites to win the Europa League. This could be a very, very special season for Jurgen Klopp. And because the first time around, his first great team at Liverpool, they built the foundation then with FSG. They haven't got to build the foundation now. They haven't got to build the winning mentality. They haven't got to build and create the culture that makes you work hard, that makes you professional, that makes you run through brick walls. That foundation already exists. So when you go through these transitional periods, you can win on your way to getting back to your very top. We saw it many years with Manchester United under Sir Alex. You'll see it as well as Pep rebuilds parts of his team, and we're seeing it now with Jurgen Klopp as well. We saw it with Wenger from his 90s team into his early 2000s team as well, because that foundation already exists. Yes, you're in transition, but the idea you're going to go away for 4 or 5 years before you come back is an absolute nonsense. A lot of players still missing for Liverpool. No Trent, no Mo Salah. Jota was rested today. Curtis Jones, who's been a regular, rested today. Szoboszlai out. They're into a final. 5 points clear at the top of the league. What a start to this campaign. And Jurgen Klopp putting his team in a position to pick up more silverware. And that's what Jurgen Klopp now needs to do. I would say for a manager of his quality and how good his team is, the balance of trophies between him and Pep Guardiola is very heavily weighed in Guardiola's favour. And at the end of the day, that is the brass tacks that we are talking about success in. So he'll want every single trophy available. Picking up more League Cups, picking up more domestic trophies is a great way to do that. And for me, I never felt that Klopp and Liverpool took these domestic trophies seriously enough in his first 3 or 4 years. We now see a very different attitude from Jurgen Klopp towards them as he's built his squad. Now that foundation is in place. And I think, impeccable, really. In terms of tonight's performance, look, I don't think it was Liverpool's best night. I don't think it was this. There were some really good moments when they took the lead and went 1-0 up. Good goal, good vision for the pass to Diaz. I think the shot should have been saved, really. There's some really good movement and passing that led to opportunities after that. But the game really became stale. But that's no real fault of Liverpool's. That's just game management. Liverpool had absolutely no need at 3-1 up to push hard, to break barriers, to run through brick walls. They had no necessity to entertain you or I. Absolutely none. They didn't need to do that. Why do they need to do that? That isn't their job. And that, for me, is one of the scary, one of the sobering, one of the worrying factors when it comes to this Liverpool team. Is that they're in transition, they're on their way to building another brilliant top-class team, and they can go 3-1 up in a semi-final of a major competition and then cruise for the best part of 70 minutes. That, for me, is, if you're a rival, is worrying. Now, football in itself, yes, we all like it to be entertaining, but Liverpool have no obligation to play hard for a 70-minute period that they don't need to. So the game in itself was a little bit boring from a neutral point of view. I'm sure every Liverpool fan watching was sitting back, enjoying the football, relaxed, no real worries. Maybe that last 10 minutes, it got a bit hairy. They'd have probably liked to have seen some of the chances. Diaz should have fed the ball through to Diaz a little bit earlier in the game. There's a great shot from Darwin that also, I don't even know how he didn't go in. If I'm being honest with you, they would have liked that extra goal probably to kill the game off 110%. So when I say it wasn't a great performance from Liverpool, I'm just talking from a standpoint of entertaining people. It was a brilliant professional performance, but not one that anyone's going to really remember as a standout, because that's not really how we operate as football fans. But this is a brilliant, brilliant Liverpool team. I've been saying it for a while now. I've been getting cooked online saying I'm a secret Liverpool fan now and all that jazz. But look, I can only speak the truth on the football terrace. And I think Jurgen Klopp is on his way to cooking a second top-class team at Liverpool, answering questions to whether or not he could rebuild a team, which I think he's starting to answer. And a lot of people last year were talking about whether or not he'd been found out, whether or not he had the appetite, whether or not he could keep going. Me as a rival, I looked at it and I asked questions. Can he adapt? Can he change? Has his system been found out? There was a lot of Liverpool fans that come on the terrace who were saying they think he needs to go now. And I think that kind of criticism is fair. We live in a world where people have opinions in the moment based on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months or so worth of games and results and performances and data, and they have those opinions. I will say this about Jurgen Klopp. He's absolutely turned it around, in my opinion. And I think for many people, turning it around, if they were maybe thinking that he'd gone as far as he can at Liverpool. And I think it demonstrates not only his world-class coaching ability, but his absolute brilliant man management and mental perseverance as an individual to remotivate himself again and get a team already to this level. And I think with another transfer window or two, with some more additions at the back and into this midfield, namely a DM role, this Liverpool team is still yet to reach its optimum best this time round, and it's 2.0, if you want to say that. There's got some of your comments that have come through here. They're going to be getting G on, going to get Samuel on to have their say on the show today. Terry, who would your man of the match be? You can give it to Diaz for the goal. For me, I'd probably go with Quansah. I thought he had a really good game at the back. I think he's really applied himself well this season. He's just being nurtured in slowly but surely by Jurgen Klopp, and I think that's the absolute right thing to do with that young man. But that is who I would personally give my man of the match to. I thought that McAllister had another really solid game and performance. I thought he was good. If I look at the Fulham team as well, because I want to speak about them, I thought Pereira had a good game. There's a ball he crossed into the box at the end. Why nobody was running onto it is crazy. I say who I really like as well, in the Fulham side, just to shout him out. I really like, and why is his name eluding me now? Robinson at left back. I think he's really good defensively. Going forward, I love the fact he just crosses first time. Not enough players do that. I think some big teams should be looking at him. I also thought for Liverpool tonight, again, Conor Bradley had another solid game. I thought he had another solid game today. But yes, there'd be the kind of standout performers on the pitch tonight, in my personal opinion. Quansah and Konate are the future. I think they are definitely part of your future, Scouts Cop. I think you need one more as well, to be purchased and brought into the club. Although I do think right now, you've got one of the best left backs in the country, Joe Gomez. Who knew? I don't know. How old is Joe Gomez? Genuinely, I'm going to say 27 by now. He must be 26. He's 26, and I think you found his position. His position is a left back. I've never seen him look so comfortable that he does a left back, and he's got a shot on him as well. Keep him at left back. Honestly, get him in the England squad at left back. He's English, right? I know he's born in England, but not everybody. Like, I'm talking about who he plays for. Yeah, I thought he was English. I thought I'd seen him in the England team before. I just didn't want to assume. But yes, absolutely. Keep him at left back. Get him in the England squad. I like him there. Terry, Fulham was the better team. No. Fulham were not the better team. Fulham had large periods of the game where they had the ball because Liverpool let them. Fulham did have some opportunities to create chances, but they very rarely did. Liverpool didn't need to be the assertive team. They were 3-1 up. So sometimes in a game, and that's why people do this in fighting quite a lot. And for someone, listen, I never fought at a world-class level, never professed to. But for someone who's been in the ring and sparred with some good people, watched a lot of fights, sometimes you play possum a little bit. There's a tactic of playing possum. Doesn't mean just because the other person is more aggressive and throwing more punches that they're winning the fight, because it's a tactic. Liverpool sat back at times in the game and said, we're going to absorb you and counter. They just probably could have done with getting one more goal, but I don't think Fulham were the better team, in my personal opinion. Mr. Kloppin says, Conor Bradley, my man of the match. What trophy has Poch won? Well, that's why Liverpool, for me, are the heavy favourites going into this game, because Poch hasn't won a trophy in England. Chelsea are nowhere near Liverpool standard at the moment. But I genuinely mean this to Liverpool fans. I'm saying it ahead of time. If you hear any other Liverpool saying we're guaranteed to win, easy win, we're going to smash Chelsea, shut them up. Forget the football gods for a moment. I believe in that. You don't need to believe in the football gods. You want no complacency seeping into that dressing room before the game starts. Because if you walk out on that pitch, 2017 FA Cup final, everybody said Arsenal had no chance, they won. 2018 FA Cup final, everybody said that Chelsea had no chance against Man United. Guess who won? This has happened on multiple occasions. Not every time, but it has happened. Liverpool should win that game on a balance of probability if you look at the better team. But Liverpool have to go into it thinking they could lose, thinking that Chelsea have some danger in them. If you don't, you could come a cropper. But you are the favourites, in my opinion. You're just a good, fair footballing fan. That's all, mate. Thank you, Kieran. Listen, I try to be. Although I will say this. There's a guy that I follow. I've been following him for about 6 or 7 years on Twitter and YouTube, sorry. Last season, he sent me some really horrible DMs saying, I can't believe you're being so nice about Arsenal. You're twerking. I can't believe you're doing videos where you're praising and saying how great and worried you are about this team. It's a disgrace. You're a terrible Man United fan. That's what he said to me. We're both Man United fans. He did a video the other day, and I'm kid you not. He said, I'm scared of Liverpool. And I just thought to myself, well, you've seen that people like my takes, like my approach of being unbiased, and you just copied me. And it's fine. I don't have a personal issue with you. Talk about whatever you want. But you were DMing me 9 months ago, a year ago, telling me I was a disgrace. Oh, it's so funny. It's so funny. I'm not going to say who the person is because I don't really do that. He knows who he is. He knows who he is with his strange accent. But yeah, he is from the UK. I'll tell you that he's from the UK. But there we go. Yeah, there are some strange people out there that they really, really are. Let's have a couple of super chats. I'm getting G and Samuel on. Liverpool fans need to calm their tits down. Chelsea have played better versus the top 6. Come on, you Blues. Let's colour Wembley blue. Poch average revenge against Klopp incoming. And Paulinia is this Fulham team is literally that Lamborghini meme in the driveway of a rundown house, the beating heart of that side. He's very good, although he should have put them, in my opinion, 1-0 up before you scored. Could have been a different game. I know it was hard on the volley, but I think a man of his quality should be hitting that target for me personally. But that's just my very, very humble opinion. The Rim here says, Terry, you're a Liverpool fan. Don't worry, bro. Be honest. You know you like us. Listen, let me be really honest with Liverpool fans. I say these nice things about you. It's my job too. I'm being honest. But when you scored, so in where I work here, we've got a room. We've got dartboard and stuff. I spent 15 minutes after you scored just throwing darts. I was playing Bob 27, working on my doubles, and I didn't want to watch it because I was annoyed. So, yeah, I am not a Liverpool fan. Happy birthday, Lang and Sweet. I didn't know it was your birthday, Lang and Sweet. I hope you're well, brother. Have a very, very happy birthday indeed. G, Samuel, and Ram are about to join us. I do need to, very quickly, though, change the overlay. I didn't make one for calls because I'm a plonker. And if you don't know what plonker means, it just means silly. So I'm going to upload that now so we can see the panel's wonderful faces. Is what I'm going to say to that one. So we can see their delightful faces. We've got G, we've got Samuel, we've got Man, Light, Ram. Gentlemen, welcome back to the show. Congratulations on making the final. G, what did you make of the performance tonight? But overall, how happy are you with your progression to this final?
I think performance was professional. You could see that from a mile off, from the first minute up until the last. I think what you said about Fulham did have in that second half, they were dominating the ball, I guess, but not really doing anything. But I felt like Liverpool were just letting them do that because we were just thinking we don't need to really overexert ourselves. We don't need to go too far ahead in terms of getting too excited and things like that. We had the moments where, unfortunately, this attack, they should be killing off the game. With the chances that we were having, misplaced passes, getting into the final third, silly little things that we were doing, which we should be killing off these kind of games. But again, Fulham are no slouches at the end of the day. So you do have to be not worried, but you just got to be on your toes. And I felt the whole game, the whole 90 minutes, that was just professional. That's probably the best thing I could say for the performance.
Yeah, listen, I totally agree. I'm someone just like you that feels as though, yes, they had a lot of the ball, but I felt like you let them. I was watching the game, but I felt myself and my mind somewhat drifting. I felt myself just thinking, Fulham ain't going to do very much in this game.
Yeah.
I was actually having to force myself to concentrate because it just felt like the game was fading away from the goal. Kind of the last 15 minutes was great because of the goal they got back. But when you consider the injuries that you've got, the rotation, the elements of rotation that came in today, the kids that were playing at the back, you must be starting to feel really positive about this season and the next few years ahead.
I think especially with it's the rotation that I'm probably more shocked than impressed, if I'm being honest, because Klopp has never, ever, ever rotated, ever, like the way he's doing now anyway. Whether it's just because he couldn't, whatever the context is, he's just never done it. So to see him do it now is kind of like, damn, okay, cool. Do you know what I mean? He's seemingly trusting the youngsters a lot more in terms of allowing them to play, first team football. I think being in the Europa League this season has helped massively. If we were in the Champions League, I don't think we'd be seeing the amount of rotation that we've seen this season. We're in the Europa League, which has allowed us to play against, lesser teams, but people like Quansah, your Owen Becks, Ben Doak when he wasn't injured, Kai Gordon's obviously coming back, Connor Bradley getting into the fold, Endo even being allowed to just play in these kind of minutes. It gives them a bit more momentum, a bit more time to allow them to just play and get their rhythm. Whereas Champions League football, we ain't got time to be trying to bed in Quansah and Beck and all of these guys. Like, they're going to be playing little Dowie Carabao Cup minutes, and it's just not going to work out for them in terms of their development. So I actually think it's been, as annoying as it is being in Europa League, I actually think it's been a blessing in disguise for everybody at the club, at the in the team, and I think you're seeing the fruits of that. Now it's just about continuing. For me, brilliant win. We're through to the final. Boys will obviously celebrate however they do that. I'm done now. The game's over. Next game. That's all I care about. Chelsea. And then we move.
And that's that foundation I was talking about. Thank you very much for the super chat, Total Red. If you think I've got great ball knowledge, I'll take that. I don't think I have better knowledge than anybody else, but thank you very much indeed, brother. It's the foundation I was talking about earlier on, Samuel, that because the first time round with Klopp, this foundation was built. It's not, oh my God, let's get overexcited because we're in a final. And I always go back to a story that Patrice Evra tells about the first time he won the Carabao Cup at Man United in 2006. And he said they celebrated on the pitch. He said, but they got back into the dressing room. The trophy was put away in a box. Everyone got dressed, got on the coach, went home and got back to work. And he was sort of like, oh, are we not going to go and have a big party and go to a nightclub and then like have a sort of parade or something? He said he couldn't believe the workman-like mentality after that. And that feels like what Liverpool are about to go and do now. It's great we're in the final, but it's business as usual the second you get back in that dressing room tonight.
I think we got the benefit that we did it exactly 2 years ago. So it's still fresh in a lot of people's memories how that season went, where we won the cup double, but it was more of, for our standards, a disappointing season. I was hoping for us to win 3 trophies. I didn't think we were going to win a quadruple, but 3 trophies, but we ended up winning 2. Still a decent season, but we ended up winning 2. And now I feel like we've got a lot of guys in the team that were here 2 years ago that understand the assignment that, you know what, cool, we don't take games lightly. We take it a game at a time. We take it as we can. I know our next game is against, I believe it's Norwich on Sunday, I believe. And then Chelsea. But like, as you said before, we can't take Chelsea. I know Chelsea are crap right now for their standards, but you cannot take Chelsea lightly at all. Actually, if you really think about it, our last games against Chelsea have practically all been draws. Even the cup finals have been draws. Even if you go back to the Super Cup final, where we played, it was a 2-2 draw and we beat them on penalties. So Chelsea are no slouches, especially when they come against a big top 6 team. They always love to give it to the team, and they play quite very well. So I just like how grounded this team is. I like that Klopp is trusting a lot of the players in the team, because I don't believe before that he trusted a lot of the players before in previous seasons. I felt like we had the first 11 and that was it. This time, I believe we have a squad. And I believe that he's put a lot of trust. And G was right, because I said this before in the season. I said, I hate being in the Europa League. It's an embarrassment for me. However, it's slightly a blessing in disguise, because those kind of games that we know we're going to win, you can bring out these kids. We can bring out a Quansah. We can bring out a Conor Bradley. We can bring out these guys, and it can be embedded into the system. And it seems like when they come onto the pitch, especially like the game against Arsenal, when we beat them 2-0 at the Emirates Stadium FA Cup, and the kids came on, it's like they instantly knew what they needed to do. They knew the system, and they had little cameos where it was very good.
I totally agree. You make the final, Ram. There's not much. The performance tonight, I think we've touched on that. Professional. How do you feel about playing Chelsea again in this final? We know Chelsea have had a bad season, but how do you feel about taking them on? Because they feel like they're really circling for some revenge.
Yeah, they could circle for revenge as much as they've won, but at the end of the day, facts don't change. We're still favourites. We've got to win. I don't care if it was Chelsea or Middlesbrough, whoever, or even Fulham. We are the favourites going into the final, and we were beyond favourites. Even when it came to the semi-final draw, it was literally everyone, then Liverpool, then everyone else. So whoever we got, I knew what the facts of the matter don't change. We have to win. That is the assignment that was given to us, and that's the assignment that I think a lot of these players have gotten on board with. You know, a lot of the new players have gotten on board with the fact that, you know, this is Liverpool. We're here to win trophies. We're here to win for the club and build on that legacy that this club is so known for. So business as usual. Look, Chelsea can talk about revenge as much as we want, but at the end of the day, we got to win. And I think we should win. I think it's a given, because Chelsea are just the team. They're just not consistent enough. Compare it to Liverpool, where we've been consistent most of the season. We've been getting wins left, right, and centre. We should win. And there's no disrespect to Chelsea. It's just that we're But if you look at the table, we're by far better than them by a mile. I guarantee you, if we're doing a combined 11, I don't think one Chelsea player gets in that team. I really don't.
Gee, it's a really big point. We'll come back to that. You don't want to be the first team in England that lets Potts win a trophy, do you?
I hear what Ram is saying, and I do agree, but it's a final. And I can't lie, I've been finals. We've been involved in finals. We have no right of winning. AC Milan, Champions League 2005. Liverpool had 0, and I mean 0% chance of winning that game before the game and at halftime. Guess who won the game? Guess who won that final? And that's just talking about 2005. Terry just named through the last few seasons more recently of teams who have gone in there as favourites and walked away as losers. So it's a final. Chelsea do well against top 6 sides. They will be up for the game. We've been drawn against them even in the Premier League. So let alone a final where it is kind of cagey anyway, because nobody wants to be, making mistakes. I'm not saying that Liverpool won't win. It's just more, I wouldn't be that confident, so to speak. It's a final. Honestly, 2 good teams, both deserve to be here. It could go either way. Do you know what I mean? Liverpool will be favourites because they are the better team. They've performed better this season. But I don't know if I'll be like, yeah, Liverpool are overwhelmingly favourites. We're not facing Middlesbrough where you're like, oh, okay, yeah, you know what, we should walk all over them. Chelsea will be up for it, and Pochettino will 100% be up for, this kind of game. And he's already drawn against Liverpool once. So by the time we face them, I think we would have played them twice, because I think, yeah, as Samuel said, we played them again.
Like next week, yeah.
Exactly. So I'm not saying that's an indicator, but it'll be funny if that game, we'll see how that game obviously pans out when the time comes. And then, you face them in the final. It's a final. I just think professional job, get it done, we move kind of thing. And I think Terry mentioned it there, talking about, Manchester United and, the kind of mentality. And that for me has, when Liverpool, in my opinion, were at the peak of their powers. So between 2018 and 2020, I think that's the best Liverpool I've probably ever seen in my whole lifetime. It was always about the next game. Nobody cares about this game. We're done with this game. It's done. We move on to the next game, because that's the mentality you should have anyway, because you're supposed to be a team who are, trying to challenge. So we've got Chelsea coming up, but the most important game for Liverpool right now is Norwich on the weekend, FA Cup. Can we make it through to the next round? Perfect. Then we've got Chelsea again. Keep that mentality. I think it will stand you in good stead. When you start looking too far ahead, that's when you start saying, yeah, this should be easy. Chelsea are rubbish, blah, blah, blah. All of a sudden, 2-0 Chelsea. Now you're sitting there twiddling your thumbs trying to, backtrack what we said 3 weeks ago. So, yeah, I think you're right. Don't let that seep into... But the players won't do that. They won't do that anyway.
That's what the players should be doing. They shouldn't be thinking about what's going to happen at Chelsea. We got Norwich. We got Chelsea at home. We got Arsenal away. We got games that we've got to win these games. We've got games that we should be winning, but the games that we got to be winning. Like if we're going to go on and challenge on all fronts that a lot of Liverpool fans are claiming that we're going to do, then literally you have to take on that same mentality that we had in 2022. What's the next game? Oh, next game is against Norwich. Cool. Let's settle with them. What's the next game after that? Chelsea. Okay, we've got to go and do a job against Chelsea. What's the next game? Arsenal. Got to do a job. That's what it has to be from now until the end of the season. But like I said, the expectation for me is that we should be winning the final. But again, Liverpool Football Club like to do things a lot harder. And when it comes to they are a bogey team. They are a bogey team.
Samuel, I'm going to ask you the question. Ram brought this up, not me, really. Do any Chelsea players currently get into the Liverpool first 11? I need to ask that question.
Oh, that's actually a good question.
On form, in my opinion, they don't. But on
form, yeah, I would say on form they don't. Even though I can't lie, Chelsea have been. They had I think they're on a 4-game winning run. I think I believe.
Oh, that's cute.
Yes, it's cute, but I would say no. I wouldn't.
Here he is.
I wouldn't say any Chelsea, because I think the strength that they have probably is their midfield. I'm guessing it's their midfield. And even right now, I would say our midfield is performing very well to a point where I can't see. It's like there's no outstanding performance in the midfield for them that can get into our team. Not saying that Enzo and Caicedo are not great, but just right now in form, I don't see it.
They've got bigger names for sure. They've got bigger names, but I think when you look at the performances of both midfields, it's kind of even to an extent, if not Liverpool just a little bit better as a cohesion. But like I said, when it comes to form and when you talk about this season, I honestly don't think any of the Chelsea players get into our team. If you're talking about like overall, if you're talking about reputation as well, maybe Enzo, maybe a little bit of Caicedo might get into the team. But if you're looking at just form this season and performances over the last 6 to 7 months, I don't think any of our Chelsea players get into our team, in my opinion.
I just saw the comment, just made me laugh. Godzilla said more than half of the Chelsea players get into the Liverpool team.
Yeah, that's why you're like 7th and we're 1st.
I'm going to play devil's advocate though. I think I'm going to say Caicedo does, because you guys bid a world record fee for him. So I'm going to put Caicedo into the team if I'm playing devil's advocate. Rax here with us. What did you make of tonight, mate? How happy are you with the performance and making that final?
Wasn't the best performance, but we were pretty controlling. We weren't really under too much pressure throughout the whole game. It kind of reminded me a little bit about of the season we won the league, in the sense that, you know, we got the early goal and we played the ball around a little, but there were a couple of semi-hairy moments. But after we scored the goal, how many clear-cut chances did Fulham really create? And we especially on the break had a few, maybe not proper opportunities, but potential opportunities, like one where after they hit the post. And we went right down the other end, and really, that's a simple pass by Nunes, and that should have been 2-0, and that should have killed the game. But you know, we're through. We shouldn't get too too ahead of ourselves. When, you know, Chelsea will be up for it. Chelsea fans will be up for it, and but Klopp won't allow that to happen. I think there's enough leaders in the team from our heyday under this team, you know, the Virgils, Mo's and Allisons and stuff like that they'll keep everybody's feet on the ground. And we go into it as favourites. I think last time we probably went into it as favourites as well, but Chelsea gave us a really good game. But this game we go into it as clear favourites, and we have to behave like favourites. We need to not, you know, take chances when they present themselves, be professional, and not rest on our laurels. And if we do that, I think we are the better team, and I think we'll win. But if we don't do that, Chelsea have a chance for sure.
They certainly do. Winter Surface here with us. You've seen a lot of Liverpool this year. How are you feeling about playing them in the final, mate?
Just get to the penalty shootout. I don't even know why we have to play the 120 minutes.
Yeah, for real.
It's a waste of time going forth. No, I think it's ironic. I think it's a game that both clubs have to win for momentum for the rest of the season. We have to win it just to have something to show for this new regime, or whatever you want to call it. I think Liverpool need it to build momentum for the rest of the season as well. Could help. We've seen how it helps. It's going to be an interesting final. We haven't got Mason Mount, so we've got a chance. So it's all good. And it's a cup final, so that Liverpool were heavy favourites in the last two cup finals. I know they won, but in my opinion, we played better than them in both finals. But we just couldn't finish.
Well, I actually watched the Carabao Cup final back today. It came up on my suggestions on YouTube. I forgot the chances that Mount missed in that game. Obviously, the post. There was the one in the first half that I actually think was worse, that goes wide.
Yeah.
Couldn't believe the chances he missed in that game.
Yeah. So, like I said, so it'd be a good final. I don't know what it is about these two teams. The last 3 years, they've just not been able to separate from each other, apart from penalty shootouts. So.
It's quite simple, bro. You're our bogey team. You are our bogey team.
I think we're bogeys. We're just a couple of bogeys. That's what we are. We're just.
You're like City. To us, you're like City. You're Spurs to City. You know what I mean? You just can't find a way to beat you. Even when we were winning league titles and winning Champions Leagues, we still struggle to get a good result against you. I think the games where we think it was more or less comfortable was the game at Anfield where it's a 5-3, and the Chelsea-Liverpool one where Trent scored that free kick, and then Firmino scored the header. So I think other than those two games, everything else was just it was literally neck and neck between us.
Do you know the thing
we're
about
playing him? Is it a week in a week's time? We're playing him as well.
Yeah,
So,
literally a week from tonight.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting to see how that kind of plays out. It won't really mean anything in the bigger context of the game, but it'll be interesting.
1-0.
I was going to say, the thing that really annoys me about playing Chelsea, and this is why it's just like every time I play Chelsea, I roll my eyes. Against Man City, I actually have a lot more confidence, even though Man City is a great team. It's because Man City open up a lot more. Against other teams open up a lot more, especially in the top six. But Chelsea, every time they play against us, it's always the defensive solidity that is first, and then the rest is after, which gets me so annoyed because, and it's obviously it's a good game plan for Chelsea, because if you looked at the first game of the season, I think Poch played a 5 at the back, and I actually commended Poch to say that, you know what, he's seen the problem, he's looked at our strengths, and he's addressing it. So I genuinely think that Chelsea will play a little bit more, I would say, defensive in the final, just because of how potent our attack is, and then go from there.
Yeah, look, it's. I like this game because it's kind of two contrasting styles, as you say. I like teams that are a bit more resolute against Liverpool. Just from when it's really open, I'm always Liverpool going to win, and I don't want Liverpool. Do you know what's mad? I don't want Liverpool to win because you're my biggest rivals. I don't want you winning more trophies because I don't want you leaving us, going ahead of us more. I think you're ahead of us by 1 or 2, and I don't want it to be more. But equally, I don't want Poch winning his first. It's nice, and I'm not digging out Chelsea. Please don't take this personally. I know you want to win. I just don't want Poch to ever win a trophy in England. It's just one of those weird little agendas I've got. I'd love him never to win one, but it feels like a lose for me. Yeah, it's a little bit of banter. I like it being there.
If you think about it, Terry, there's one thing to join us all, and that's to see the uncomfortability in the eyes of Spurs fans if Poch was to win that trophy.
Oh, yeah, that is especially today, because I don't know if you guys have seen it. Some dude, I laughed at it. He did a video where he reacted to me and Dan Potts on Straight Facts, and he essentially spoke about how we both look like red cheeks and beetroot, maybe like a bit of a gammon comment, which is very strange calling someone like me a gammon. Small penises, small brains, working class idiots, and all this sort of stuff. And so I shouldn't say I want Spurs to feel in the mud, because there might be another video of me being clipped up and my working class roots being mocked. But ironically, this guy was mocking me about how I look, and I looked at him. The man looks like Al from Al's Toys Barn in Toy Story, and he's having a go at me about how I look. And I thought to myself, I know I've let myself go a little bit as I've got older and more comfortable in life, but this guy literally looks like Al from Al's Toy Barn. Couldn't believe it. But listen, we all love that. Terry's got the agenda versus Poch as he backed Ten Hag rather than Poch. So, no, Ten Hag won a trophy. It's not that. It really isn't about that. And look, if he wins it, he wins it. I'll congratulate him. I was actually having a bit of a laugh. It's really not that deep to me. I'd prefer Chelsea to win over Liverpool because of my ties to, of course, me as a fan of Man United, and my sort of ties to that rivalry really is what I would say. I wanted to ask you guys about some performances tonight. Young Quansah again putting in another mature, composed, almost seamless performance. This is in a semi-final second leg. Especially that last 10 minutes, because there was like a 5-minute spell after they scored, but they looked dangerous. And then he and everybody else shut them out. He looked so composed for such a young man. The sky's the limit for him, really, Rack.
Yeah, man. Look, I've been so impressed with him because the first time I'd laid eyes on him, because I don't really watch the youth teams and stuff, was at the start of the season in the pre-season games, and I thought, okay, this guy looks like a bit of a unit, but can he play? And he's proved it every time he's come on. He's outdone himself. Like, he's far exceeded my expectations. He looks mature. The thing is, I always think, like, being a centre back, it's not a difficult job, but especially when you're playing with a high line and stuff. But as long as you keep it simple, track your runners and communicate, then that's half the job. And the rest of it, especially when we've got other good players around you like Virgil and stuff, you have a good chance. And quite often, especially with young players, they can be a little bit too rash. They try and go. You sometimes see it with Konate, even though Konate is a monster. Sometimes Konate dives in a little bit too much. Sometimes he commits himself when he don't need to. The thing with Quansah is he's pretty chill, and then he makes the attacker make the mistake. He says, "Okay, if you want to beat me, you're gonna have to do something." And whenever he comes up against good players, he rises to the occasion. So look, brilliant young player, especially with Bradley playing on that side as well. It's not an experience as defense, as Virgil pointed out in the post-match press conference. So look, I respect to his performances. He can only get better, and that's a scary thought.
It's how about yourself, Sam? I mean, I know that there's a propensity sometimes for young players to get overhyped, too young, but he hasn't had any calamitous performances. He's barely made a mistake. I know it helps having one of the greatest centre-backs in Liverpool's Premier League history next to him, but he just looks an absolute star in the making.
I mean, earlier in the season, I spoke about him in the Europa League game, and me and G agreed that he just looks composed. On the ball, he looks so composed and reassuring. I mean, he's been so good that I genuinely believe that Liverpool haven't gone in for a centre-back in January because of his emergence. Other than that, I think they would have went in for a centre-back because obviously Matip is out for the season. And that's how good Quansah is, because if Liverpool don't get a centre-back this January, then it's because of him, because of how good he's been. I mean, I've really got onto at the beginning of the season. I really got onto our academy because I felt like our academy, it wasn't really that good, but they have shut me up now. They have really shut me off. I mean, Conor Bradley, Quansah, even Curtis Jones, and others that have come and stepped up into the first team have really stepped up. And Quansah, he's the type of centre back that I like. Somebody that he can play on the ball. He's composed, strong. I know he's not that quick, but he's quite intelligent for his age. Like as Rack said, he makes you make the mistake. He doesn't force things. He just makes you make the mistake. And sometimes it's like, I don't know if Liverpool still want Cole. I know that what's it called? There were some rumours that we might go back in for him, but I'm kind of glad we didn't go for Cole, because now you see this gem of a player. I'm not going to overhype him. I'm just going to let him grow. But you see a gem of a player in Quansah as centre back, and it only bodes well for the club, because now we got Quansah, we got Konate as well, and they're both under 25, which is brilliant for us.
And this is the thing, right? We've got a lot of Man United fans, and I wanted to pose this to the Liverpool supporters about Quansah as an example. You've got Bradley, Curtis Jones. I sort of put him beyond that youngster category now. Was he 23, if I'm not mistaken? Turning 23, and it's still Harvey Elliott's pretty young. You shouldn't be married to the idea of just having academy players in your team if they're not good enough. Otherwise, we all knew Jay Spearing was never going to be good enough for you. Everyone knew that. But if Quansah's able to perform at the highest level for a prolonged period, which he looks like he may be able to, you're talking about saving yourselves 70 to 80 to 90 million, which then can be invested elsewhere. And sometimes I see a lot of fans online that talk of standards, and they say, well, no, there's better in the world than Quansah, so you shouldn't put any faith or any investment into him. You should just go and buy better. And I understand that logic to a degree if you've got major holes at the back. But this is someone that, again, right now, why go and spend any money on Levi Colwell? It doesn't make any sense. He's the young replacement. Really and truly, it should be, let's go and buy maybe a more experienced centre back to come in as opposed to another youngster. I think you make a great point there. I'm sure you're happy. I'm sure you're happy. Yeah, go on, Ram. Sorry.
I think that's the case. I think ever since the emergence of Quansah, I've been saying I think we just need to stop looking at like sort of long-term centre backs and start looking for like a quick fix centre back. Maybe someone that's a little bit more experienced that can come in and just maybe be fourth choice or even come in and step up if the young players are in a bad run of form. So all fair play to him, as in like I've heard about Quansah's through the England under-20s. Like he's made a reputation at the England setup in the youth teams. And in my honest opinion, I think given the circumstances that what England centre-backs are looking right now, I think he should be on the plane to Germany. Whether to start or not is not the issue. I think he's a player that could be one for the future. And if he can get some experience with England. Yeah.
Full England team.
Like how Trent was in 2018. Like, just be there to get some experience with the team and know what it's like to play in the big tournaments. Because we haven't got many great young centre-backs coming through for England. That is of his ilk and of his like type of player that he is. So I think having someone like him...
We haven't got many great centre-backs full stop, have we? I don't know. I mean...
Yeah, but like if you think about how England needs to start looking towards the younger players and start maybe moving on the older players, I think he should be one of those players that would be sitting on the plane and getting some experience with the England setup. That's my opinion.
I don't trust Quansah with Gareth Southgate. Let England get another manager.
Yes.
And then
Hang on. It was Gareth Southgate that moved him into midfield ever before Klopp. I'm just saying.
It's true, but like I still don't like Gareth Southgate. I can't lie to you.
Now, look, at the end of the day, he's a talent.
I get where you're coming from. I think it was Euro 96 or the World Cup 98, probably more 98. Rio Ferdinand was involved, and I get it.
This is going to be more than likely Southgate's last tournament, though, right?
Yeah,
so I don't think he'll take that much of a risk.
I don't even think it's about the risk. I don't think you need to put that kind of
risk.
No, I hear you. No, it could be a risk if, for instance, you get injuries when you're out there and you've got to play. But I don't think you need to put that pressure on this young man just yet. I get if you're an attacker, because an attacker can come on, be awful for 20 minutes and then get the winner and be the hero. If you're awful for 20 minutes as a centre-back at an England tournament, hang on, Ron, let me finish my point. If you're awful for 20 minutes in a Southgate setup, by the way, not Klopp and your team, but a Southgate setup, which could happen at his age, in an international tournament, and it leads to England going out, that's, you know what the England fans are like, it's too unforgiving. I get where you're coming from on quality, but I would want a young centre-back of mine. Same with a lot of Man United fans spoke about Kobbie Mainoo going. No. If he was a striker and he was scoring goals, maybe. But as a midfielder in that responsible role that he's in, I just want him nowhere near that England setup right now. I don't want the pressure on him. I don't want the spotlight on him. I want him to develop in relative peace. Sorry, back to you, Ram.
What if it's more or less like as a 23rd man, like the last man, like what Trent was? I mean, Trent only played in 2018 in that dead rubber game against Belgium. Like,
why does he have to be a part of the squad? Why don't you just take him and he's not part of the squad? Why don't you just do that?
I don't know if we're allowed
to do that.
Still Germany.
Why don't you just, because that was the fatal mistake Sven did when he took Theo Walcott as part of the squad when he was like 18 or something, and didn't. That's the whole point. I mean, I presume we got a friendly coming up in March.
March.
Late February, so it could be part of that squad, and they'll look at him from there. But then again, it's Southgate.
I just want the guy.
It just seems way too early. Like, why? I don't really see. I don't really see the need for it.
Let him just be there, man. Just let him be there, enjoy himself. Get to know the guys. Just don't play, but just be there. Just
maybe when
be there.
Why not do that on a Teams call? During
exactly.
You know what I mean?
Let him experience Germany, bro. Let him experience Germany, man.
Nah, like for me right now,
get a flight on Ryanair if you want to experience Germany. What are you talking about?
Why don't you draw Bayern Leverkusen in the Europa League and then you can experience Germany? something like
Yeah,
that.
no, just let Quansah grow right now. I don't want that much pressure on him like that, because Terry made a very good point that we know how the England fans are like, and we saw what they did to Saka, especially. It was kind of like it's sad, but just let him develop. Just let him develop. Even with Joe Gomez, I really thought. Remember, when Joe Gomez was ripping it up with Virgil van Dijk. It was 2019, and then he got this massive injury. I really thought that Joe Gomez was going to be like the mainstay in England centre back. Him, Tomori, and I think there was somebody else I forgot, but it ended up being Harry Maguire. With credit to him, Gareth Southgate trusted him, but I just feel like for me, it's a part I don't trust Southgate, and also like I just need Quansah to grow. And maybe have a few more games where in competitive games where he's used to it, and then go for the England team, because he's going to be in the England team anyways. He's got the quality to do it. Just let him grow.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I get where Ram's coming from, but I completely agree with you boys. And look, it's no skin off my nose. I'm not a Liverpool fan. If it goes wrong, boo-hoo. But he is English, and for me, I want to see. I remember doing this one year. And it just with my mates, I know social media back then, and I used to get really annoyed that like at World Cups and Euros, everyone was like on it. I remember like Rooney had a bad game, the Liverpool fans were on him. If Gerrard didn't score, the United or Arsenal fans were on him. So like we all bought our England shirts one summer, and I bought one with Gerrard on the back because I was like, why you got a Liverpool player? I said, well, because he's not a Liverpool player for the next 5 weeks. He's an England player, and we should all get behind him. I just got beer thrown all over me at the pub. I was like, like literally, I got drenched. I was standing there like, I thought it'd catch on. No, the tribalism could not be taken out. But I've always been like that. I care about my national team. I'll go through times where I say, I don't care about England. And then it's on. I'm like, I'm just going to put England on and see how we're doing. I can't help it. But so, I don't want him to get ruined. I know what England fans can be like. I know what the pressure can be like.
Terry, if you remember Andy Murray, when he won, he was British, and when he lost, he was Scottish.
Oh, me and my big brother, me and my big brother pretty much got into a fight over that. Genuinely, one time when he went out at like 19 years of age in the French Open, and my brother's like, bottler. He's a bottler like Inman. I was like, how do you know he's a bottler? Went out, look at him, no bottle. It's like he's 19. I remember when he won his first slam. I rang my brother. I've ringing him for 20 minutes. Man wouldn't answer his phone. I was like, you're dead, bruv. Where you at? Where you at? Like, yeah.
But tell what's her name? Is it Emma Raducanu? So she won her first tournament, and people are still calling the bottlers, even though she won her first tournament. So you can't win.
I mean, her situation is crazy. We are very harsh on people in this country. Do you know the weirdest thing? Do you know who we're the nicest to? We are generally the nicest to losers in England. Like everyone loves Tim Henman. Yeah. Everybody loved Jimmy White. Yeah, everybody loves. Like Frank Bruno did win a world title, but it was never really our best boxer at the time. I love him, by the way, but it's personalities we end up liking. But when it comes to like having true world-class people in England, whether it's Lewis Hamilton, whether it was Nick Faldo, there's always a sort of underbelly of hatred towards them. So if they're really good, it's like I look at young Cobby. I don't know where he might decide to play for England. He might not. Nobody knows yet because there's a lot of people in the UK. Fair play to him, dual nationality, and that's great. But I'm like, just keep him away from it now. He doesn't even. Do you remember Adnan Januzaj broke through? And there was like 4 different countries because of where he lived and where he was born and where his passport was, all fighting for him. I just thought to myself, leave him alone. He's a kid, let him play. Jimmy here, by the way, says, fun fact, Al from Toy Story 2 was actually Rafa Benitez. He did look a bit like him. No, but legit, this guy called me out. It did the video made me laugh. Like, genuinely, people come to me saying, someone rung me. Said, Terry, are you sitting down? I thought they were going to tell me someone died. I was like, oh, what's going on? Are you sitting down? I thought, oh, no. And then I thought, well, they don't know anyone who's really close to me. So I was like, they're not going to say my mum's died, my dad's died, my brother died, even worse, my dog's died. Like my puppy, not the older one, he's gone. So they weren't nothing. But I was like, oh, my God. I was like, what's wrong? Somebody's done a video and they've really ripped into you. I went, oh, what they said. I always worry they've lied. They made a weird lie up about me. He sent me the link. I put it on. I watched the first 3 minutes. He's like, why are you laughing? I went, this is great. And like, he was ripping into me, but I'm really not that sensitive about it. But it's when he went to talk about my appearance. He ain't Brad Pitt, bruv. Do you know what I'm saying? Do you know what I mean? He ain't Brad Pitt. It was he looks a bit like, imagine Minty from EastEnders. Do you know what I'm saying? Do you know what I'm saying? Imagine Minty from EastEnders giving somebody advice about how they look. But he's like a middle-class Minty. Imagine Minty if he was an accountant. Do you know what I'm saying? Like middle-class. I know this guy wears chinos with running shoes. Do you know what I'm saying? Them man there. Do you know? Why front levels? Anyway, keep England the hell away from Quansah. England and Liverpool never goes well. Booed, Gomez, Hendo, Trent. Liverpool, Tory government issues for ages. Scousers always easy targets. I've always felt similar about Man United, to be fair, but I hear where you're coming from. Liverpool win the quad. It will be bigger than City's treble.
Guys, can we calm down with this? Like, I've learned from 2 years
See you later. See you later.
Can we calm down? Even if we win all 4 trophies, I think the blot in it is that the Europa League is there. Like that's the thing. So, but like, let's just calm down. Let's take it a game at a time. We're a very good team. Let this team just do its thing. Stop talking about this squad for now.
I thought Gene made a good point, though. Gene made a good point. The fact I think us playing in the Europa League may actually be a blessing in disguise because it's given us a chance to blood some of these youngsters in lower pressure matches. You know, we'd be putting our full strength team out in every single game if it was a Champions League. So, you know, it might be a blessing in disguise for sure.
Yeah, look, I think it is. And you've got to utilize it that way as well. And look, again, I wouldn't be talking about quads if I was a Liverpool fan, because the season you won the league, some Liverpool fans online set you for failure because they started talking about an invincible treble. So if you're talking about an invincible treble for 4 months and then you end up with the league, in essence, it's disappointment because you've not quite got to that level. So just don't let people make you over-gas things. Just take it game by game, step by step. But listen, if you want to, you don't have to. Do what you want. It's your club, of course. Look, I want to thank everybody that has tuned into the show tonight. It means a great deal to me that you all show up so regularly. Back tomorrow with the top 6 show in the afternoon. Getting ready for a busy weekend of FA Cup. I do love FA Cup football that's on over the weekend. Listen, until next time, everybody, I want to say thank you. Take care. God bless. And I'll see you all again very, very